My name is Victoria Russell, and I'm a professor of Spanish and foreign language education at Valdosta State University. Today, I'm going to share with you some technology tools and applications, as well as authentic resources that are readily available to help you move your instruction from the traditional classroom to the virtual one. In this presentation, I will focus on tools and applications that are both free and easy to use. I will also show you how to create instructional activities to accompany these tools and resources for learners at the novice, intermediate, and advanced levels of proficiency. Finally, I'll share resources for both commonly and less commonly taught languages. To get started, let's take a look at the three modes of communication: interpretive, interpersonal, and presentational. Online language students need practice in all three of these modes across all four skills. With the interpretive mode, students need to interpret or understand what they see, hear, and read. Students also need to engage in presentational speaking and writing. With the presentational mode, students have time to plan and rehearse their production in advance. In the online environment, presentational communication can occur asynchronously or not in real time. For example, one person could record a question, and a few hours or a few days later, another person could answer it. However, with interpersonal communication, that is, person-to-person communication, this must always occur in real time. Interpersonal communication can be oral or written. We're going to look at a resource called Langmedia Archive that can be paired with discussion boards for creating quick and easy online interpretive listening activities. The Five College Center for the Study of World Languages created Langmedia Archive, which contains open access learning resources for over 50 languages. While their focus is on less commonly taught languages, they also have resources for commonly taught languages such as Spanish, French, and German. For many of the languages, there is a searchable collection of videos showing native speakers performing everyday actions. These videos provide a window into the target language culture and show how the language is used in real-world contexts by native speakers. The videos were not scripted, and the native speakers were asked to film themselves doing things like visiting someone's home, posting a letter, grocery shopping, and visiting the hair salon. This type of content is typically lacking in world language textbooks. Internet-based resources such as these are ideal for teaching students pragmatics and social language. Moreover, these videos are authentic materials, which are materials that were created by and or for native speakers of the language. This slide shows all of the languages that are available on Langmedia Archive, and there are over 50 languages listed here. These are the French-speaking countries with video resources on Langmedia Archive: France, Luxembourg, Morocco, Senegal, Canada, and Martinique. By showing students the different accents and dialects that are spoken in the various Francophone countries, students will be less likely to make overgeneralizations or stereotypes regarding the French language and culture. It's also possible to show regional differences in accents and vocabulary usage within a single Francophone country with these video resources. These are the Spanish-speaking countries with video resources on Langmedia Archive: Argentina, Ecuador, Mexico, Nicaragua, and España. This is great for Spanish teachers like me. I'm not a native speaker. I worked very hard to learn my Spanish, and I'm very familiar with the culture of Spain, having lived and worked there. I've also traveled to Mexico and Puerto Rico, but I've never been to Ecuador, Argentina, or Nicaragua. But as a Spanish teacher, I'm often expected to teach the cultures of these countries. And Lang Media Archive gives me a window into these diverse cultures. So therefore, this is a great resource for teachers as well as for students. This slide shows all of the topics for which there are videos available, which makes it really easy to find videos that you may need for your specific lesson topic. This is a screenshot of the Shopping for Food page from Spain. At the top of the web page, you'll see an explanation of food shopping in Spain. For example, information is provided on how there are two models for supermarkets in Spain. One being a mall where the grocery store takes up a whole floor of the mall, and many of the products are sold alongside groceries, products such as clothing and shoes. The other model is the small neighborhood chain supermarket. The information posted here also explains about open-air markets, how many small towns will have these at least once a week, and sometimes on several days per week. Each of these videos can be downloaded, and the transcripts are available in both English and the target language. This is especially helpful when colloquial expressions are used by the native speakers, because sometimes teachers might not even know those if they're not familiar with that specific country or region. The transcripts definitely facilitate students' comprehension, and students, we have to keep in mind, they're often unaccustomed to hearing the language as it's spoken in its natural rate of speech. So these video resources are excellent for helping students get used to hearing how the language sounds when it's spoken by native speakers. This screenshot shows shopping for food, and it's in Nicaragua. So the information here describes how there are many chain supermarkets in Nicaragua, as well as open-air markets that are open for very long hours, 7 days per week. Since I've never been to Nicaragua, I learned that smaller neighborhoods often have convenience stores that operate out of people's homes. And this is something that I observed when I was in Puerto Rico. I even saw small restaurants operating out of people's homes. In the first video clip I'm going to play for you, it's shopping for food in Spain, and the supermarket looks very similar to ones in the US. However, there are some subtle differences. In the video from Spain, there's a frutera who weighs the fruit and vegetables in the produce department, and she places a price sticker on each item. This was a common practice when I moved to Spain in the mid-1990s. Today, customers weigh their own fruits and vegetables, and a little price sticker prints out of a machine. This is a difference from the US, where the cashier does this at checkout. So in Spain, when tourists and others do not weigh and price their fruits and vegetables in the produce section, they get to the checkout line, and then the cashier has a really hard time and is not equipped to do this. So it really holds up the line, and people can get angry. So this is a very helpful cultural practice to learn. Take a look.
Yolanda, buenos días. ¿La piña cómo va de precio?
A 99 el kilo.
Euros. Pues está muy bien, ¿no? Pero esta la veo pasadita. Esta mejor, ¿vale?
99 céntimos.
Muy bien.
1,58. 1 euro con 58 céntimos.
Muchas gracias.
Bien, aquí tenemos.
Gracias, Yolanda. Ya hasta el lunes, ¿eh? Ya no vengo más a verte.
This next video depicts shopping for food in Nicaragua. Keep in mind that with Lang Media Archive, native speakers were asked to create videos of themselves doing these everyday functions. And so the native speaker in this video, she went to an open-air market to shop for food, and she purchased an iguana. This type of video really captures students' attention and could prompt both instructors and students to look up more information on the cuisine of Nicaragua, where green iguanas and their eggs are considered a delicacy.
Mire señora, ¿a cómo tienen las iguanas? 50. ¿Y otras más baratas?
Esta, 40 y 40.
¿Tienen huevo? ¿Cuáles son las que tienen huevo?
Vale 40.
Ajá, esa está buena. Me va a vender esa.
Each of these videos comes with a transcript in the target language and in English. And here is the transcript of the Shopping for Food video from Spain. You can see that the speaker uses a colloquial expression to ask for the price of the pineapple. Normally in Spanish, when we teach students how to ask how much something costs, we'll teach them cuánto cuesta or cuánto es. And here, the native speaker uses the phrase ¿Cómo va de precio?, which is quite different than what's taught in the foreign language textbooks. She also uses some uncommon vocabulary for students, such as the word pasadita, which means overripe. Back channels can also be seen in the transcripts. These are those filler words that occur in everyday conversations. In English, we tend to say things like and aha. But in Spanish, you can see that eh is used frequently in this short conversation. Again, this is a great way to show students how native speakers use the language in everyday situations. This is the transcript in English, which could easily help clarify any unknown words or expressions for both the students and the instructor. In the next few slides, I'm going to show you some simple online activities that you can create using Lang Media Archive and a written discussion board tool. So for novice learners, you can provide them with the transcripts both in English and in the target language to facilitate their comprehension. And on the course discussion board, you can ask them basic comprehension questions about the videos that they view. Questions that are recall questions, inference questions in the target language. You can also ask them extension questions that relate to their own everyday lives. So asking them about their own shopping habits, for instance. And if you want to go further and delve into the culture with novice learners, it's okay to do that in English to promote comparisons of the products, practices, and perspectives of the target language cultures and their own cultures. So you can ask them things such as, where do people shop? What do they consider to be food? How do they shop? How are their shopping practices in each of these countries similar or different from those in the U.S.? You can also point out the regional accents, and there's not one homogeneous accent for each country. For example, the woman in the video from Spain, you can have the students investigate, how does she say the word thank you? Most people assume that all Spaniards pronounce the soft C with a TH sound, something like gracias. Well, that's not always the case. In certain parts of Spain, especially in the south, they're called ceceantes, and they might say something like gracias. And this particular video was from Sevilla, where the soft C is pronounced just like the S, but the ending of the word is often chopped off. So the woman actually said gracia. And so showing these types of regional differences is really beneficial for students at all levels. And then you can ask students what types of regional accents exist in their own country in the United States. For intermediate level learners, you can ask both comprehension and extension questions as well as questions that promote cultural comparisons, all in the target language. You don't have to revert to English for those cultural comparisons with intermediate level learners. They can handle it. You can ask your students then to examine the transcript, the target language version, for examples of colloquial expressions and unfamiliar vocabulary. And then you can ask them to ask a question of a peer on the course discussion board using a vocabulary item that's new or a colloquial expression that they learned from the Lang Media Archive video. For advanced learners, on the course discussion board, of course, continue to ask comprehension and extension questions and questions that promote cultural comparisons in the target language. You can also ask them to examine the transcripts for those novel vocabulary items and expressions, as well as back channels. And then you can ask students to write a dialogue on the same topic, incorporating as many of the new vocabulary items, colloquial expressions, and back channels as possible. And this gets them used to practicing and using that authentic type of language that native speakers use. And most of you, if you have access to a learning management system through your institution, all of those have written discussion boards readily available. However, some of you might not have access to a learning management system. So there are a number of free written discussion board tools that you can use, and I have posted links for those here for you. This is an example of a course discussion board that asks an extension question related to the student's own shopping habits. Here is the link for Lang Media Archive, which is a free tool. I've also listed some other excellent online resources for providing authentic listening input for your students. Yabla is a repository of authentic TV shows, movies, and even commercials in Mandarin, Italian, Spanish, French, German, and English. The authentic video input is made comprehensible in 3 ways. First, captions are available in English or in the target language, or the teacher may opt not to show a caption at all. Second, transcripts in the target language are available for students to study in advance. And third, videos can be slowed down to facilitate comprehension. This is Language also provides authentic videos of young people who are not actors talking about common topics. Their videos are unscripted, and the native speakers discuss everyday topics that are relevant to young people, and their videos are available in German, French, Spanish, Italian, and English. These are both excellent resources, but there are costs associated with them, unlike with Lang Media Archive. Now I'm going to show you some online resources for interpretive reading and presentational writing using authentic materials. Again, authentic materials are those that are created by and or for native speakers of the language, and infusing them in our language courses helps us to create a meaningful cultural context for our students. Today's Front Pages is an open access website that offers the front page headlines from approximately 72 countries and over 800 newspapers from the United States and around the world. This resource can be used to explore the social, cultural, and political differences between students' native country and a country where the target language is spoken. It can also help students see a different perspective on world events. This is a screenshot of today's front pages. It's their main page, and this website is sponsored by Newseum. This screenshot shows how newspapers can be sorted by region, and on the next few slides I'm going to share with you some ideas for using today's front pages to stimulate interpretive reading and presentational writing for 3 levels of proficiency: novice, intermediate, and advanced. For novice learners, you can select a paper from the target language country and then select a paragraph from that particular article. Scramble the sentences in the paragraph and have the students rewrite the paragraph, putting the sentences in the correct order. Another activity is to scramble the paragraphs and ask the students to put the paragraphs in the correct order. These types of activities teach your students discourse competence. They're learning skills like cohesion and coherence. And they can then check their work against the original, and the whole time they're working with authentic materials. For intermediate level students, again, you can select an article from the front page of a newspaper from the target language country, and then ask the students to perform some type of operation on the text, such as changing the speaker from third person to first person, changing the tense from past to present or future, or changing the register from formal language to informal language, for example. Again, this teaches students those very important discourse skills so they can improve their second language writing. For advanced students, you can have the students themselves locate the article from a particular target language country and then find an article on the same topic from a newspaper from the United States. Students can then write an essay in the target language describing the similarities and differences between the 2 points of view expressed in the articles. Instructors who have access to a learning management system through their institutions can create the assignments that I just shared on their course assignment Dropbox. For those who do not have access to an LMS, Google Docs can be used. Students can work either individually or collaboratively online using Google Docs. The link on this slide provides a tutorial on how to use Google Docs if you're not familiar with it. Here is the link for today's front pages, as well as links to other open access authentic reading materials for Spanish, French, and German. These are made available by Coral, the Center for Open Educational Resources and Language Learning, and CARLA, the Center for Advanced Research on Language Acquisition. For the less commonly taught languages, links will be provided at the end of the presentation for all of the Title VI language resource centers, many of which focus on less commonly taught languages, and they provide a wealth of materials and resources for teachers of those languages. For those of you who are new or less experienced with online language teaching, there are many online resources available for you for professional development, which I'm going to share with you over the next few slides. The Actual Distance Learning SIG past chair and I recently co-authored a book that will be published early this summer on teaching language online. And Chapter 4 focuses on online professional development. Our publisher gave us permission to share all of the e-resources from this chapter, which are available for you in this link, including information on all of the National Language Resource Centers, CARLA, the Computer Assisted Language Instruction Consortium, known as CALICO, and many other important organizations that have resources and materials for online language teaching, as well as online professional development. I would like to close by sharing information with you on the Actual Distance Learning SIG National Foreign Language Resource Center mentoring program for online language teachers. Any member of ACTFL can participate in this program for free. The applications for both mentors and mentees are now open, and they close on June 30th. The application link is available on this slide. Mentors and mentees may participate for one semester or for a full academic year. The next program will begin in the fall of 2020. Mentors and mentees who complete the program will earn an online badge from ACTFL. I would also like to invite all of you to join the Distance Learning Special Interest Group. We are a very welcoming group of language educators who are interested in advancing online language teaching and learning nationwide. We are also dedicated to helping each other learn best practices to design, develop, and deliver online, blended, and flipped language instruction. Joining the Distance Language SIG is very easy. Anyone can add a SIG to their membership for only $5. As a member, you will have access to all of our webinars, newsletters, and our online community. We also sponsor sessions and a business meeting at the annual ACTFL conference. Members are also eligible to compete for our annual teaching awards. We have a K through 12 and a higher education award, and winners will receive 1-year memberships in both ACTFL and Calico. They will also receive a beautiful plaque, and they will receive an exhibit space in the Technology Showcase at the annual Calico conference. Thank you for listening to this presentation. If you have any questions, please post them in the special discussion board that ACTFL created entitled COVID-19 Response, Online Teaching and Learning Resources. Also, if you attend the 2020 ACTFL conference in San Antonio, please be sure to attend the Distance Learning SIG business meeting. We would love to welcome you into our group.